Hello, welcome. Prema here, and I'm so glad that you are here with me on Your Best Kept Secret to Success. If you're new to the show, welcome. And if you're returning, I just welcome you back, and I'm grateful that all of you are here. Today, I just want to ask you a question that's really been coming up for a lot of my clients because of the energy we're in, but this is something I've been through several times myself. So, have you ever felt like you don't know how to talk about your work anymore? Like something has shifted, something has changed. Your voice feels different. Your message is shifting. Maybe it hasn't landed yet. The old language doesn't feel right. Like it doesn't fit. It's like that putting on that garment that it just isn't you anymore. But the new words haven't really landed yet. Maybe your voice feels a little quieter than usual, a little uneasy or shakier. It's not because you're lost. It's because you have grown. And in this episode, we're going to be learning about how to speak again from who you are now. This is about getting up to speed with yourself, your visibility, your ability to really tell the truth telling, and speaking from the current you, who you are evolving into. One of the things that gets in the way a lot of the time is we can sense when we're evolving into the next variation, the next expression of who we are. And when we're not actually there yet, it makes it a little bit uncomfortable, vulnerable. Vulnerable is the word I'm looking for, to start to speak into like who we're becoming. But the truth is we're always on an evolutionary journey. We're always becoming. And when we allow ourselves to open up that channel to give expression to who we're becoming as we're becoming, there's a lot of freedom in that. And I understand it also, there's a lot of vulnerability in that. So this episode is really here to support you conscious leaders, you conscious entrepreneurs in reconnecting with your message after the identity shift, or I want to say even during the identity shift that you're going through, so you can speak clearly, confidently, authentically from who you are now, not who you were, but also stay true to who you're becoming because you're sensing that as well. We talked deeply in episode 11 about doing the deep inner work and really honoring our integration space we talked about in episode 12. So in episode 13 here, I really wanted to drop into this space. Okay, like now what and how do we give voice to that? Because that's been coming up a lot. So maybe you're wanting to rearrange and you're not sure how to, again, give space to that, to talk about that. Again, we'll get into all of that in this episode. First, I want to remind you, if you are watching live, you are welcome to call in with questions, subjects you want me to address. And the number is on your screen if you're watching live, and it's 1-866-451-1451. And if you're wanting to ask me a question, or have me address a subject on a future podcast episode, then or want to share your comments, your ahas, like what's coming up for you in this content, then do send me an email at askprema at Soulutionary, SOULTIONARY.com. And that email is with wherever you are watching this episode in the show notes. All right, let's dive in for a moment to the current astrology trends. We'll just dive in here for a moment because there is so much going on. And I do want to say that if you want to really know the full astrology, then tune in on my YouTube channel. You'll find it under my name, Prema Lee Gurreri. And I do full astrology updates there for the month and for the full moon. Wow, it is quite a time. And remember that even if you're listening to this in the future, and this was recorded in the past, even though we're addressing it in the present, that these trends have helped to shape where you are now and where the world is now. So currently, Mercury has gone direct. It was retrograde for 3 weeks and it's direct now. And it is direct in Pisces. Venus is also direct in Pisces, and the sun has finally moved on from Pisces to Aries, where it was with the eclipses. This has been a huge time of shift, March, April of 2025, and the shift is going to remain with us into May. We've got a couple of big shifts happening there. We're through the eclipses, and we've got a Saturn North Node Rahu conjunction. Again, this is a lot, but what I want to address today that is very relevant to what you may be feeling now, or anytime you feel like you just know things are changing, things are shifting. That is one thing that you can depend on. Things are going to change. Things are going to shift. Can you stay up to speed with those shifts? Can you stay up to speed with yourself, your evolving self? And can you also address the initiations, the challenges, the soul challenges that are coming up during the time? Whenever you're feeling like stuck or shut down a little bit, or just, wow, this is all a lot, you're being called to like walk through a new door. You're being called to let go of something. You're being called to embrace something new. Now, Mercury is in a place where it is our great communicator and it's our great merchant. So it rules business. Now that it is finally moving forward, we're starting to get some clarity in our communication. And that's why it's very relevant, this whole like giving voice to who we are now. But it is still in a very creative place because it's in Pisces, it's with the North Node of the moon, and it's lining up with Saturn. So what the heck does that mean, Prema? So what that is about is that you are starting to get clarity, and there is a new way for you to, again, message, communicate, for you to lean into a more creative and spiritual side, an energetic side, instead of the common analytical side that Mercury does rule for us. Now, it's great that Mercury is in charge of that analytical side. We need the logic, but it's still in a very creative place. So that means that you're accessing new ways to communicate. And sometimes communication could still feel a little uncertain or not so clear, but in today's episode, we're really going to nail this on where you want to communicate from. Because if you're always communicating from the heart, from your authenticity, it doesn't matter what the energy is. You are going to find your true voice. Having said that, be gracious with others as they're going through the shifts they're going through. Venus is also direct. Venus is our great connector. It's also our great artist, very creative and exalted and moving forward now, which is great. So you should start to see the things that have been coming up around relationships that you are able to make the shift. You can make a new choice potentially, or you can see the pathway for the relationship, or maybe you're just even feeling more detached from what was challenging you in relationships. We've all been going through this deep shift, but remember, the core relationship is the relationship with yourself, the source of your being, whatever your word for that, spirit, God, the divine. And then we connect from the heart with others when we're in a real through line of connection. So right now, be very in tune with yourself and be focused on connecting from the heart, because you're going to really start to see the pathway. Still lean into your creativity. This is a wonderful time to allow your creativity to come forth through whatever medium that might be for you, whether it is your communication and your words and your writing, whether you get your canvas and your paintbrushes out, whether I'm out in the garden with the creativity and also doing some things around the home. Just, wherever it is for you, that creativity allows you to access another part of yourself and create something new. The Saturn energy we have is going to go on for a while. I'm going to actually do a whole thing on that. So I'm not going to go into that so much now, but I do want to also bring your attention to the leader, because the sun is now in Aries. And in Aries, it is exalted. It is the beginning of the Vedic New Year. It's the beginning of the zodiac, and it is strong. Now, the beautiful thing about having the sun now in a strong place, this is that energy to lead from the heart. This is our identity, our authenticity. This gives you the brilliance, the power, the insight to be able to express yourself and what's happening for you, what's going on for you, and what's like this whole topic of expression and your voice and your message. It allows you to be able to access that and gives you some confidence to start to express yourself. So now is the time, and it is always time to express yourself. But right now, we're a little bit more supercharged than we have been over the last 6 weeks with all the energy that we have been going through. So these current transits really support your clarity, your message, your voice, and even the refinement of that and the realignment with like the true authentic voice that really wants to come through for you at this time. So let's dive in a little deeper. So I'm just curious, like, what's coming up for you about wanting to express yourself differently? What are you unsure about? And what also has landed for you? And I just want to drop these prompts in for a moment just to get the energy moving in this direction. This is a safe space. We will go through a process to help you to really connect with your voice and connect with the message, and that, feeling a pull toward visibility, but, wanting that to really express who you are and who you're becoming. Look, your voice is a big connection to your visibility codes. And when I say visibility codes, I mean the energetics within you, how you're encoded to be seen. Now, your sacred wealth code is a direct connect with your visibility, but then whatever our highest value gifts are want to be expressed through communication, through messaging in some way. One of the biggest challenges I see here is when, again, you haven't quite landed it yourself because it's shifting, it's changing, it's evolving. And maybe you're not sure, is this really what's true for me now? I mean, you're sensing that your voice isn't what it used to be. So the best way for you to start to connect with it is to actually start to use it. And again, this is a vulnerable place, but in truth, if we can get really up to speed with ourselves and we can give voice to the message that's coming through us at any given time, that expression helps to evolve our message. It helps us to evolve ourselves, and it allows us to get to know ourselves. It's very hard to know exactly what it is, what we're about, who we're here to help. But by doing it and by, putting it into action, again, we create this beautiful feedback loop. Because when your identity evolves, your voice must shift with it. So are you feeling unsure about how to talk about what you do, or questioning who you're speaking to? And I know when those things go on for myself and for my clients, what I notice is that we tend to not speak. We tend to hold back. And then one of the problems with that is when we're holding back, then we sort of create this traffic jam. And it's even harder to get up to speed with ourselves, so to speak, because now we have so much to say. So that's why we want to give ourselves a way to express ourselves along the way. And that can be with someone who's trusted, whether that's a mentor, whether it's a friend. That can also be through like just a stream of consciousness, just writing, and not that analytical type writing, like sitting there with Chat GPT, which can be useful. I'm not against that by any means. But it's more in really allowing the part of you that has yet to be heard to get heard, and first and foremost by you. So it's not really that we're confused in these times. It's that your energy no longer matches your older message. You're not out of sync. You're actually shifting. Look, I've gone through this several times. There's been many iterations of my work, many iterations of my work, and of my clients. The true message that you're here to share is actually underneath the words that you're putting out in your actual so-called messaging. Like, I'm all about helping you to understand the natural cycles that are running within you and around you. I want to help to empower you to your higher potential and really live into your highest gifts and be able to trust yourself and really live from the inside out. And I believe that's encoded in us, in our soul blueprint. Now, there's many different ways that I can message that. I message that in a Sacred Wealth Code work, in the Sacred Wealth Code reading. I message that in my Sacred Wealth Mastery program, where I am here to help people to align their gifts and their soul purpose with their divine timing, so that they are truly creating the kind of wealth that they want and making the kind of impact that they want. This podcast is called Your Best Kept Secret to Success, because all of that is kind of below the radar, right? It's sort of some of these hidden secrets to success. So there's lots of different ways to express. But the thing is that we want to, well, maybe we don't want to. Actually, let me reel that back. When we are not sure about what our message is, we don't really want to share it, but we've got to, because that is actually part of the evolutionary part of it. So some of the beliefs that tend to come up or during this time of shift is like, I used to know how to talk about my work, but why do I feel so unclear now? Well, the truth is, you've changed and your voice is calibrating. Your voice isn't lost. It's actually evolving. And your next level isn't waiting for perfect language. It's waiting for you to show up as you are. This is that deep authenticity that I think we're challenged with more than ever right now, because of we live in such an information age, and because of AI. And nothing wrong with AI. I mean, it's super great for organizing things and creating structures, and even helping get, your thoughts organized. But it is information, and it will never replace your story and the transformation that you create with your words, with your work in the world. And that's actually what people come to you for. There's so much information that at people's fingertips. I remember, I when I was in school, there wasn't the internet. We had to look in the encyclopedia and the dictionary and do a lot of research on things, and everything is at your fingertips when it comes to information now. But as far as, if you're an entrepreneur, a leader of any type, your message and the transformation that you're here to create for people is of higher value than it ever has been. And if you're going through a big shift and your message and your voices, I guarantee you that your clients are too, or your soon to be clients are too, because the transformation it's that knowledge experienced. It's so valuable. It's wisdom. It's literally your experience and you putting words to your experience. It's the ability to sort of discern and help other people discern because of the journey that you've walked, which you've gathered, all this information, not information, this wisdom. Like, wisdom is knowledge experienced. So we could have all the knowledge in the world, but unless we've gone through it, we've used it, we've embodied it, then it's just information. But if it's truly your story, it's truly your story and you've gained the lessons from it, that's where it becomes wisdom. And that is of high value to share. So I want to invite you just to start to think about, what are the insights that have been coming up for you? What do you actually know now that you didn't know a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago? I have helped many people through this journey. One of my dear clients really went through this when she was working in the medical industry, and on the side, she was an artist. And that was fine for a while to live really compartmentalized. And she had really two different messages. And as she started to really feel this call to step more into the creative work and into the artwork, she went through a huge transformation. She had to let go of the beliefs around being seen and not necessarily being valued for the creative work, for her artwork. She was concerned about how that would land in her workplace. But in the process of really letting go of these beliefs and doing the clearing, but also getting really clear about really what her purpose was, and then starting to follow what her intuition, what we came up with her for around like how to express the artwork. So she was doing really beautiful oil paintings, and she had been for a while, and they were up on a website and they weren't really not much action. But then she started to, as she really started to own her energy of being an artist, all of a sudden paintings started to sell. She also began to let a process that was like a whole transformational process that she had played with a few people. She let it come to the surface and really started to hold these classes, and did so for the medical, uh, for some of her coworkers in the medical field, that just by using creativity helped them to get in touch with themselves and release a lot of stress. Well, she didn't know that's where it would all lead, but by getting over herself, so to speak, and then by starting just to take one step at a time and really speak into what was most alive for her, and then things started to unfold, and unfold in the most beautiful way. Another one of my clients, someone who is a musician and also held down a very practical, corporate career. And at one point, it was really about his new songs and in him being sort of the singer songwriter. But then his message really began to change, and it was really about, he realized there was this deep pull to create community and really co-collaborate with other artists, musicians, but artists too, and like how could bring all this multimedia together. And by going through the process of just letting that unfold, and also paying attention to the cycle that he was running, that he actually created a studio space, and it was going to be very collaborative. And it did get him into some really good collaborations. But then he realized, as he walked into his Saturn cycle, which for some reason I seem to walk a lot of people from Jupiter to Saturn cycles, I've been through it myself, and realized that holding the responsibility for a building and a community type of a place was really not allowing him to be in the next iteration of himself. So he let that go and is now currently collaborating, making his own music as well, and has his own small studio space, and is still holding down the corporate job as well. So I share this with you because we are evolving and changing. And even if we've chosen a form, and I've done this before, chosen a form that of expression that maybe feels good for a little while, but all of a sudden, well, now this is not the message anymore. This is it doesn't feel right. There are no wrong turns. Part of going through what looks like, oh my God, why did I have to go through that? Like you've heard my story of the loss of my yoga center. I can tell you, and I do in my story, and you can go back to episode 1 about that if you'd like. Why did I go through all of that? Well, there was so much that was such a turning point, and there was so much that came from all of that. I wouldn't have changed it. Knowing what I know now, I might have navigated even a little differently. Okay, I'm learning along the way too. Even earlier this year, I had started a program, I'd started a membership, and and then as time has going on, there's been shifts in my business, and as I'm stepping into Saturn now, being in a very potent place in my chart, but asking me to really streamline things, I'm pulling in my some of my offerings and I'm streaming them all so that I'm only working. I'm not working as wide. Let's put it that way. I'm not offering so many things. I'm being more focused in what I'm offering so that I can bring all my gifts and don't have to sort of separate them out depending on the container. I actually thrive better in that. Just like in this podcast, I'm going to talk about all the things because I'm just paying attention to what's arising, what's alive, what I'm being a channel for. So when we give ourselves the freedom to do that, there's no right, there's no wrong. So the message evolves if we allow the evolution we're going through to move through us, if we allow ourselves to step into our visibility codes, if we allow ourselves to open up to what's actually coming through, not what we think it should be. Our minds are amazing tools, and they are, our minds can really, really, really get in the way. I recently really shifted my message. I thought it was kind of interesting because I had shifted my message in the last, let's see, about 3, 4 months ago. I shifted my message and I had shifted it before that too. And, on paper, it doesn't look that much different, but it feels different for me. It feels more true. And it was interesting when I went through the last shift around my message, which is I guide conscious leaders to align their success with their soul's purpose, unlocking their unique gifts, creating wealth, and expanding their impact in harmony with divine timing through their sacred wealth code in Vedic astrology. Well, that's a mouthful, but you know what? That's how I do all that. That's what I do. That's what I'm most passionate about. And it was like coming back home in a way, because these are the things I've always taken a stand for, always. And so I am the kind of person who is wired up to have focus on more than one thing, but they're all connected. And I'm also been doing this for a while, and this is where it's evolved to. So I really had to honor this, even though I had shifted my message just a few months before that. And I thought, okay, I'm good now. And I was like, oh, it's not quite it. Well, also from having a business for so long, because I've been in business for myself for over 30 years in one form or another. And I have had many iterations of a website. And when I finally got the fact that, oh, let's see, the website is actually this great creative platform where anytime I want to shift or change, it's like a living being. I just get in there and I just shift and change things instead of like it's the stagnant thing and we have to get it exactly right. And that's exactly what it is. It's an expression of who you are. So it's really good to give ourselves the space to express ourselves in different ways. And that's why I create YouTube videos. That's why I do this work here on the podcast. It gives me great joy to show up live. I'm seeing what's coming through as I'm here and doing this. So remember, wherever you're at, your voice isn't lost, it's evolving. And the next level is waiting for you. And there will be a message. There, you will be able to bring it down when you are ready and when it is ready. But along the way, it's totally fine to talk about it. It's totally fine. One of the big things about this that I see as a block that comes up is it's around being seen. In fact, I have a whole module in Sacred Wealth Mastery around being seen. And this is our visibility codes, because who you are, what your gifts are just your unique encoding is something that unlocks something in the world. It's just this key, like you're this beautiful golden key, and your authenticity and what's coming through you unlocks something in the world that only you can unlock. And I know that you might be thinking, yeah, well, Prema, if I knew exactly what that was, I'd unlock it, and that's great. Great, I'll take it to the bank. It doesn't work that way. It is you do it, you be it, you unlock it, you use your gifts, you let come through what's coming through, you share your story, you share your wisdom. And in the process of that, it does get unlocked and the wealth aligns with you in a way that's actually meaningful for you. You have to be so careful of following somebody else's recipe for prosperity, for wealth, for business, for life, for relationship, if it's not really in alignment for you. And there isn't a right way and a wrong way. There is the way that's right for you. And that's encoded in your soul blueprint. Somebody else's model may work for you and it may not. And it's really important to remember, if it doesn't, it's not that you're getting it wrong. It may not be a good fit. You go into the clothing store and not everything is your style or your fit. So it's really important to know thyself more than anything. I mean, the best investment I believe we can ever make is in ourselves. And the more you understand yourself, the more that you can drive this amazing vehicle of experience in the way that makes your heart sing and you feel really well used at the end of the day. And what I mean by that is like, we're all here to be in service in one way or another. That gives our life deep meaning. And that's really connected to our purpose. And there's nothing worse than not feeling like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, or I don't know what I'm supposed to be saying now. I'm doing this thing that worked or makes a lot of money or whatever it is, but it just doesn't feel meaningful. That meaning, that's that purpose, and that pulls you forward. We talked about purpose in probably the third episode, maybe the fourth episode. It'll always be a theme that we bring back in and again, because it's a driving force. When you know to match everything to your purpose, weigh everything against, like, I'd say that just the underlying essence of my purpose, and there's different levels of purpose for different things in my life, but is really living from the inside out, living in alignment with my soul blueprint, the truth of who I am with the divine. And so, when you learn to weigh your choices against that, and even what is coming through that you or you want to have come through, as far as what you are, your messages, and what your voice wants to say, you can just ask, is this in alignment with my purpose? Is this in alignment with my truth? And then stand back and not judge it. When you give voice to what wants to come through, you will experience the transformation. So, how do you speak when you don't have those perfect words yet? Your people, your audience, they feel more than the phrasing. They feel the energy. So you just speak from where you are, not where you think you should be, from where you actually are. And you let that message reflect your current truth, even if it's still unfolding. You release the pressure to sound a particular way, to sound polished, and you just focus on what's real, just what's real. And I guarantee you, what's real, especially in the times of information accessibility that we're in and AI, what is actually real lands for people very different than what's just purely information. One of the big ones is you say the thing that you've been holding back, even if, it makes you a little shaky. So what is the thing that you have been holding back saying? What is that? I'd love for you to message me what that is. Prema at Soulutionary. What is that thing that you have been holding back, even if it makes you uneasy? Because that is a core piece. Like when I held back around how intuitive I am and the level of healing that is just part of my gifts, when I held that back, it just used to catch in my throat. And when I just was able to get past all of that and just talk about it freely and show up freely. I mean, if you haven't been to one of my full moon healing circles, I encourage you to come. We hold them on the full moon. There's a $27 subscription for that. The link is in the show notes or wherever you're seeing this. I play singing bowls. I chant. I don't have the best voice in the world. I channel these healings that move things and move people. And I finally came out of the closet with all of that. And I feel so liberated in that. And it's for who it resonates for. It's not supposed to be for everyone. So let's talk a little bit about the archetypes, and then I want to drop in some deeper questions for you so you can walk away with even more of a transformation. I can feel something is moving, and that's my intention here, is for something to move, just even if it's just a little bit. So the communicator in the sacred wealth code system, we've been talking about a lot, and that's just because of where Mercury currently is. But, the communicator is a very important archetype, and communication, our voice, these are things that connect us to others, connect us to the world. They connect us to wealth. And this is the energy of the communicator of clarity, resonance, and authentic connection through your words. Words have power. If you're overthinking or you're watering down your truth, you're in the shadow side. So, what are you overthinking, and where are you watering down your truth? Just be real about that. Nobody right, nobody wrong, but that's what you need to get over. And the shift here is to speak from what's real, not what's from rehearsed. When I do an astrology update, or I am on the podcast here, I've got a few bullet points, and I just have to trust what comes through. And if it resonates for you, wonderful. Then we are meant to, be in this connection. And if it doesn't, there's somebody else who will. But it takes a lot of pressure off. When I used to teach yoga workshops, well, teach yoga in general, but especially when I would teach workshops, in the beginning, I would just pour over my notes, and I would make a whole plan, and I'd spend hours doing that. And that was a 3-hour workshop typically. Maybe we were doing back bends, maybe we were doing inversions, maybe it was connecting your heart to your practice, whatever it was. But then I would get there, and I have an intuitive sense to be able to really feel the room, or feel my people, or feel through the ethers and sense what's needed. Now, I already knew sequencing so well, very good at that. I knew how to get anybody into a pose. I know how to use props, whatever it might be. And so maybe there was a theme or whatever that I had landed in my pre-work, but in the sensing of what people needed, I was like, oh, no, we need to do this now and this now. It all just came to me. I wasn't trying to teach anything I didn't know or that wasn't in me. And that overthinking kind of wore me out beforehand. So I finally stopped doing that. And I just tuned into what the framework was, and I trusted what I already knew. I didn't have to write every word of that down. Let's talk about I'm going to give you the mantra that my voice is worthy of being heard and paid. That's the mantra that you want to live into. Let's talk about the connector for a moment. We've talked a lot about the connector Venus, but that's the energy that's up, and it's always within us, whether it's in your sacred wealth code or not. The gift here is speaking heart to heart, builds emotional resonance. And this is the block here, is losing your message in people pleasing. People pleasing is one of the shadow sides. So if you're trying what do they really want to hear? Oh, what do they really want to hear? Market research. I'm not saying anything's wrong with market research. It's good to know what's going on for the people you feel resonant working with. But it's also very important to be able to trust that heart to heart. So one of my practices before I get on with clients, which I'll do later this afternoon before I come in for a podcast here, is to open my heart, which I do every morning, but to really open my heart and actually to drop the energy through. I want to connect heart to heart, because then I can just trust the channel. That's how I'm able to sense what's going on for people. That's why people, I sent an email out this morning. If you're not on my email list, send me there's a link in the show notes, or send me an email. Sent out an email this morning. I got several emails back like, oh my God, that connected. You really hurt. That's what I'm going through right now. It's because I connect heart to heart. That's my intention. So trust your voice, even when it isn't for everyone, because it's not for everyone. It's not. And that's a good thing. It's for those who it's for, who are really resonant with you. The mantra here is, my message matters even when it's not for everyone. Trust me, it would be less potent if it was for everyone. And you just wouldn't even want that. Okay. You have a soul group. There are people here you are really meant to lead, to teach, to offer transformation products to. The leader archetype, which has gone exalted right now, speaks boldly and catalyzes transformation, says it like it is, has confidence in what you're actually saying. And the block here can be holding back truth to stay in a safe or palatable kind of, verbiage. And that's painful. You can feel that in your fifth chakra up in your throat. You can feel that when you're holding back. And the shift here is to trust that leadership comes from presence, not from perfection. It comes from being present. Like I was talking about, in the yoga workshop. So I'm present, and then I could sense, oh, this is where I need to lead this now. But we're not present if we're trying to get it right. And if we're holding back, we're in the past. So this is where we have to get up to speed with ourselves, like we've been talking about, and let that just your voice come through. And the mantra here is, I lead with truth. I lead with heart, not with performance. So just notice where you are in any of these, and you can grab the Sacred Wealth Code Oracle deck, the book, and the journal, all on my website or on Amazon, and start to work with some of these archetypes. And there's more description to them there. Or you can come in and get a Sacred Wealth Code reading. The link is with the show as well. In wherever you're watching this video below, you'll find the link to a Sacred Wealth Code reading. And also, you can take the Sacred Wealth Code quiz and get one of your archetypes for free. And you can start to get into this work a little deeper with the archetypes. Now, we're going to do a real quick reading here in just a moment. I'm going to pull a couple cards, but I want you to drop in here with some very important soul wisdom questions. So if you have the ability to close your eyes because you don't have to pay attention to driving or anything in front of you, then do that. Otherwise, you can just keep your eyes open and work with this and come back later and do that. So close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, take a couple of deep, full breaths in and out from your heart. Feel your humanity. You are a brilliant, beautiful, evolving being. And take another deep, full breath in and out through your heart. Take a moment to connect in. Boy, set a timer on your watch or your phone and do this 3 times a day. Just 3 breaths through your heart, bringing your mind and heart into coherence. Things shift just by doing that. Let this question drop into your heart. What truth have you been holding back because you weren't sure how to say it? What truth have you been holding back because you weren't sure how to say it? And just notice what comes up for you. You can write that down. You can pause this and do a voice memo. Again, it's not about getting it right. It's about opening the channel and giving voice to that and letting it come through. Whatever you have been holding back. And the affirmation here is, I give myself permission to speak from where I am now, not where I used to be and not where I think I should be. I give myself permission to speak from where I am right now, present, up to speed with yourself, not where you used to be or not where you think you should be. And again, love to hear what comes up for you. If you hear this, I'm shuffling Oracle deck cards, and we're going to do a quick reading here. You could hold a question in your mind, in your heart. It could be about something about your voice or your message. And then you could say, okay, card 1, 2, or 3, or you could just take the whole reading and use that as your answer. See what pops out and stands out to you. And I had just opened a new deck, and this deck is a little sticky, so I'm just going to shuffle this a little bit more, just get my energy all the way through it, get our energy all the way through it. And now, all right, I'm going to pick 3 cards. I'll hold the question or whatever you want guidance about, or just sit back and just see what lands for you. All right. I'm going to pick these first and then I'll reveal what they are. Interesting. All right, card number 1. This is the visionary. The world is filled with possibilities. I feel like maybe we got this last episode. I don't know. Maybe it was I was doing a reading for my group. But this is one of Jupiter's cards. And Jupiter is been standing strong in the times we're in right now in Taurus and Vedic astrology. But the visionary gets a bigger picture view. And the visionary and all of Jupiter's archetypes stand for wisdom. We were talking about wisdom being that experience, that knowledge experienced. So what's coming through here with the visionary, I was holding up the visionary if you were on, if you're listening, that's what I was doing there. And the visionary is reminding us to get to the top of the mountain so we can see the landscape better, because if you're stuck in any way, you're narrowed in, you're too focused in, you've dialed in too much, and you need a more, you have a micro view and you need a more macro view so that you can see how the whole picture is connected. And one of the things that's coming through here, and just if this, I'm reading for more than one of you at one time here, so one of the things that's landing here is that you've got a piece of the puzzle that you're really focused on. It's almost like you're trying to polish this one piece, and that's fine. But you need to connect it back into the rest of the puzzle. So come back to your bigger vision for who you are, what your purpose is, what is your movement in the world, and what you're feeling now as far as what you want to say, or you're not sure if it's time to say, or you're not sure about it. That is a puzzle piece that needs to be connected, and it's gotten disconnected from the greater vision. So I encourage you to do some journaling, tuning in, connect in with that bigger vision. If you haven't done your bigger vision for the year, I encourage you to do that. It's one of the first things we do in Sacred Wealth Mastery. And then, reconnect, because it's part of the thing. It's not just this one separate thing. The celebrity. This is one of the sun's archetypes. And of course, we have that exalted sun now. And this is, I'm leading with my light. This just goes so perfectly with our subject today, as speaking from what's true, what's arising for you, what's on your heart. That is your light. So there's a part of your light that wants to get animated by your voice. And when you let that go, it's going to really turn up your energetic vibrancy, your radiance. And because you're not feeling as connected to your voice, again, that's where you're kind of feeling dim. And so what I want to invite you to do with the celebrity archetype here is that anything that makes you feel more shiny, whether it's a pair of earrings, whether it's getting out in the sunshine, whether it's taking a walk, whatever it might be, do that first. Get into your radiance first, and then start to speak. And the celebrity really is like a celebrity archetype that speaks for an organization. It's really showing up with that presence. And that presence is what really just letting come through. But if you put yourself in the radiant energy first, it's going to be easier to do that. The Sage, another one of Jupiter's cards. And this is the truth will set you free. And then that is all about, again, what is really true for you? There's some of you that are sidestepping the truth, and it's like right there, it's in the middle of the room, and you keep walking around it. What is the truth that you are sidestepping? And I invite you to go and sit in the middle of the room with that truth, and without it having to be anything else, but yet just you being with it. Just you being with it. Maybe do some journaling around it, but that piece of truth is going to let you feel so at home and so much more in your power when you stop skirting around it. So time to get in your truth in a big way. I want to thank you for being here. Again, if you want to send me comments, questions, do that at askprema@Soulutionary. And I am really looking forward to being with you next week, and we'll take this all a step further around being seen for your new truth as well. If you are wanting to come in and work deeper with me, on your purpose, aligning your soul purpose with your gifts, with your work in the world, with your divine timing and your sacred wealth code and your Vedic astrology chart, then send me an email that says invite or says Sacred Wealth Mastery, and I'll send you an invite, a private invite to Sacred Wealth Mastery. We'll see if that's a good fit for you. That is my core program that I am very much here to support you with in getting your work out in the world that's in a unique way, in your unique way, encoded in your soul blueprint. Of course, you can get the Sacred Wealth Code archetype free quiz. The link is down below for all that. And I look forward to being with you on our next show. And I thank you so much for being here. It gives me an opportunity to do one of the things that I love to do. All right. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you next time.